So video number 2, I'm going in and adding detail. So I've actually gone in with white pencil in this lower area, and like so, I'm going in and restoring some of the shapes. Let me bring the reference up into view a bit more. You can see I have these really fine rivulets of light color tone. Beauty of these two medias, they just blend together so well, very compatible. What I will do is actually smooth this bit of white pencil. I usually will go in with a blender and smooth it before I move on to another area. But let's just kind of continue here. Let's say I wanted to restore this shape right here, just to show you. I can actually do that. Put like a bright spot of light in this back area. And little things like that, you can try inventing. The cool thing is, I can actually go in with my eraser and take that out if I'd like to, but I'm not unhappy with it, so I'm going to leave it. Along the back side, you get this thin bit of light. I'm exaggerating this just a bit. And on your Chrome render, some of you I left comments that you should define what is an edge and what's a reflection. Right here where the body goes in front of the tail is actually much lighter. So my thoughts are on that, switching back to Marcus for a moment. Let's actually do the blend on the tail. And here I am just lifting the marker to get a blend of nothing. And then I'm going to take, let's see, a clear blender. And make sure I don't have any modeling. There, we'll do that. Now, I'm always exaggerating differences, especially if I want to show an edge. And I feel like the tail and the body need to separate from each other a little more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deepen the tone right here. Now that's actually lighter right there, but I feel like I can get a better result if I just deepen that tone. And while I have this marker in my hand, I believe that's a 30. It's back to that 30 that I started with. I'm actually going to start deepening some of these tones. So I can work part of the head. I haven't gone into the big open area. Up here I did want to use the white of the paper for some of these tiny shapes, so I stopped there. And I'm actually going to deepen this area in the tail. When I have a marker in my hand, I tend to hunt for areas where I can use it before I put it down. And so you can see, now, the way I've done this, the tail is actually lighter right up against the back of the body. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to put a little bit of halo of white pencil there and blend it out. Not all the way through, just right here. And then I'm going to take the black pencil and create that really thin bit of dark. And look at that nice edge that just takes shape there. And taper it off. Edges like that don't want to continue forever. They tend to taper off, and then while I have the pencil in my hand, I'm now going to show you adding how to add a little bit of detail in the darker. So I have this neat set of shapes. I'm going to add a few things, just invent as I go. Like I said in the Chrome videos, the black pencil can get you to a really rich black tone. So sometimes I'll just drop tone in like that and just blend it with like a 10, which is what I'm using here. Just feather that in, and I have the advantages of drawing and painting really at the same time. That's one of the great powers of using the pencils and the markers together. Now you notice I'm not using an ink pen. There's a reason for that. These shapes are very feathered. There's not a true 100% in here anywhere. It's more like a 95 at the darkest. If I go in with an ink pen, it's going to be a bit harsh and jarring. So I'm content to just stay with a black pencil on this subject because it skews so light and the reflections are so delicate and elegant and feathered. I'd rather just stay with a pencil. and accomplish everything I can that way. And so on that note, I'm going to go down here with the black pencil and add some of these tiny details. Now here's where I really do take advantage of my reference. I see that something really cool happening in here. I'd like to recreate a little bit of that. So I'm actually, the black pencil is 100%, but I'm not using a lot of pressure. And I'm going to feather it, blend it with a marker. So it will end up being 70-80. Even right in here I have a little bit of subtle changes in texture and tone. It almost is like a texture here. Now I just take that 10. Actually, I'm going to scrub it out. Get rid of the dark marker. Always do that after you've touched the pencil, before you put that marker aside. Otherwise you'll forget. And then you'll pick it up and use it again, and it'll make a big black mark or something where you want light. So I'm actually going to this fine tip and a blender. More control, lighter touch, because these are really fine formations in here. And you can see, and once again scrub it out, I'm actually getting some of that drama happening that I see in the reference. Now let's work this bottom. So I'm going to re-wet. And we have a fade from the right side of this open area over to the left. Also, I'm going to blend my white pencil in. Let's go ahead and do that. Stop there. Don't blend across white and black pencil in an area, because that'll just make a muddy mess. So always, again, go with the contour, go with the flow. I'm going to add some really fine shapes in this larger reflection. So first order of business, main shapes, then the tinier details. So you work your way from big to little. And at the same time, I'm developing my darkest tones, which are getting to 70, 80, 90. So right in here, I'd like to get a darker dark. And let's actually curve this shape down. I'll just use the pencil to start that. And I think I'll add just a hint of the kind of stuff I see down here going on there. And then again, blend over it, and you can feather it out. You know, my marker has a little bit of that in there, and quickly it dries. It actually leaves the marker, and you're back to a nice clear blender. I'm actually doing that right on the paper. And that's my way of feathering that dark tone out, just the way I would with a marker. And look at how clean an edge I can get on the back side of the pencil. The clear, or rather the colored pencils, they resist markers a little bit. So if I put a stroke of white, like right up against the back side here, and then run marker along that, I can actually get that edge to firm up. And that's what you want. You want a nice, smooth, sharp edge to get glass or chrome. Anything reflective or smooth and transparent is going to want that. So I've really got my full range of tones in this back side of the body. Over here you can kind of see this is much more luminous. This still looks unfinished because I put in all those in-between tones, all those subtle tones, and I blended across. If I feel like I want to restore some brightness, I can do that at any time. For example, let's bring a little bit more light in here. Like I say, don't overuse white or black pencil or any of the grays on something as smooth and perfect as glass, because they'll come more into play in it with textures like animal, plant, and rock and fabric, or on very textured glass or metal you can use them. But on any smooth surface like chrome or glass, polished glass, you don't want to use a lot of pencil. It tends to get soft and textured looking. So you can see I'm putting a little edge on there, and I'll just leave it at that for the moment. And that gives you an idea of how you can get some nice finishing details.